Good morning, everyone. My name is Jim Codney, National Sales Director here at Western Marketing. We have a really exciting webinar here for you today with CICA Life. So we're going to have Becca and Wayne do the presentation here. We are having a slight technical difficulty, so give us just one moment as we finalize that. It'll also give everybody a chance to grab a cup of coffee or finish getting in here on the webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and put myself on mute. We're going to get this taken care of and go from there. So 1 second. Thank you very much. All right, good morning, everyone. My name again is Jim Codney. I'm National Sales Director here at Western Marketing. Sorry about the slight delay. As you all know, when we do things live, sometimes technical difficulties happen, but we really appreciate your patience with us. So today we have Wayne Daniel as well as Becca on the call. And they're going to walk us through the new CICA Life product that only a handful of distributors have access to. This is a brand new product to us here at Western Marketing, so we're really excited. It gives us an option for guarantee issue for people under 50 or 65. So they go guarantee issue 0 to 85, as well as a level death benefit in the same age ranges. So we're really excited about this. I want to be really clear. This is brand new to us here at Western Marketing. So if you have some good questions, definitely feel free to ask them now in the webinar. We'll get to as many as we can here at the end of Wayne's presentation, but we're excited. So with that, Wayne, welcome, and go ahead and kick it off.
Jim, thank you for giving us the opportunity to go through the product with you. And like you mentioned, we do have a 0 to 85 GI that we'll be presenting today, but I think we also have a level plan that's 0 to 85. And I think that, some of the niches that we'll fill, some of the things that are going GI currently will go level with this product, which will really help agents from a commission standpoint, and obviously the clients for getting first aid coverage. As well for final expense or simplified issue whole life. So Becca Berry's with me. Absolutely. She's our director of agency development. So she handles all these training calls and contracting and getting new agencies going. So she's going to be helping me today and filling in the spots for things that I don't know on the contracting side. But we'll kind of go through the product here real quick and a little bit of the agent guide, and then show you guys the portal and then answer any questions that you have. So as I just mentioned, we have a standard and a guaranteed issue product from ages 0 to 85. The standard is an immediate death benefit. The GI, like you're used to, is a return of premium the first 2 years. and with a 10% interest, and then it becomes level coverage in the 3rd year. There is a terminal illness and dismemberment. There's actually a living benefits, a small amount of living benefits on this whole life policy, which is kind of unusual and unique. And then the accidental death is included on the GI, and you can add it on the standard plan for $5 a month for double indemnity. So if they have a $10,000 policy, it goes to $20. If they have a $30,000 policy, it goes to $60 for $60 a year. So very, very nice benefit there. The terminal illness, you guys are probably used to this, up to 15,000 accelerated if they are diagnosed with a terminal illness and their life expectancy is less than a year. The accidental death, just like I mentioned, it does double the face amount. So whatever they get on the level plan, it doubles it for $5 per month, and it is available for ages 0 through 84. And then that dismemberment, you can see there, we won't go through everything, but you can get an advance on the policy if you have a loss of a limb or an eye or anything like that, you know, and you need those funds for medical bills or to kind of get you through while you're not working. That is included in every policy for free. So technically does have living benefits. Some of the really unique things about this product, there's no height and weight chart. So for either plan, the issue age is the last birthday. There's no MIB or script check. So just like GTL and some other companies that do that, you'll see when we get to the health questions, we want them managing their health, right? So seeing a doctor at least once a year and taking the medications they're prescribed. So there's no need to pull those reports because we expect the clients to be on the medication that they're taking. There's no tobacco question. There are male and female rates, but it is a blended rate. So male and female for the level and the GI is just one rate. And there is a spot to put the physician's information, and we recommend if they have a doctor to put it there, but it's not always required. So you can check no physician if they don't have one and they're healthy, because we realize on a 0 to 85 product, someone that's 20, 30 years old may just go to urgent care if they get a cold or something they don't need. They don't have a primary care physician, but someone older that's on a bunch of medication that maybe has a health condition that does go level, go ahead and put that doctor down because it'll help us when we need to pay a claim. Some of the items, and this will be all in the agent guide, and you'll see when we get to the portal, every agent will have access to this. So what we try to do at the portal is create a dashboard that has everything on one dashboard, along with a section for every kind of form that you would need, including this agent guide. So it kind of shows you what goes standard and what goes guaranteed issue. So you can see congestive heart failure, that's usually a graded or a GI issue. It goes level coverage with us as long as it's being managed. Actuaries have found that people with CHF that are taking their heart meds and their furosemide or whatever water pill they're on and seeing a doctor, they can live a long time with that. Another one is cancer. Current cancer is guaranteed issue. If they are cancer-free for 1 day, it goes level coverage. There's no look back on cancer. And if they're on cancer meds for maintenance, that's fine. As long as they're cancer-free, that's the key for 1 day. So no 2-year look back, 5-year, 10-year look back on cancer. Cystic fibrosis, dementia, obviously guaranteed issue. Dialysis, if they're being treated and it's not for a transplant, which we'll get to later, they're not waiting on a kidney, then even dialysis can go first aid coverage. Heart attacks, hepatitis, A, B, C, D, whatever it is, it's not asked. Amputations is another big one, right? Sometimes people have diabetes and neuropathy with amputations. As long as they're taking their meds for neuropathy, that goes level coverage. Insulin use, you can see any age, any amount of units, it doesn't matter. I know some companies say if you had diabetes before age 40 or before age 15, we don't ask the question. You can see there obesity, obviously with no height and weight chart, it goes standard. Organ transplant, so that's another big one. A lot of carriers will say if you've ever had an organ transplant, it's an automatic decline or guaranteed issue. With us, if they've lived with the transplant for over 5 years, then they're probably not going to reject it, right? So we'll do first aid coverage. If it's under 5 years, you can still write the policy. It's just going to go guaranteed issue. So remember, guys, there are no declines with this product. You will get the policy number and everybody is approved at the end of the sale because you're going to go level or you're going to go GI, right? So there are no declines from an underwriting standpoint. It's just which plan do they qualify for. Oxygen use, not on the app. Again, people are on oxygen for lots of reasons. We take COPD, standard level coverage, emphysema, all that can go first aid coverage. So oxygen use obviously isn't even asked. Wheelchair confinement, as long as they can do their ADLs, which you'll see is question 1, taking care of themselves, bathing themselves, fixing their meals, they can do their ADLs, then they can be confined to a wheelchair. It's not even a question on the application. Sickle cell anemia, another one, you can see pacemaker, oxygen. So all these things go standard coverage, which a lot of carriers are either grading or putting modified if they can get approved at all. So what you'll find is, and I know you guys know this, GI carriers pay less for guaranteed issue than you do for level coverage, right? Well, so do we. So CICA Life is the same way. It is a reduced commission for guaranteed issue, but if some of these clients that would normally go guaranteed issue can get first aid coverage, not only are you helping the client, but you're getting a normal commission that you're used to for writing level coverage, whatever that is today. So there's only 8 health questions on the application. Like I said, no MIV or script check. If you answer all the 8 health questions and say no at the end of the application, they will get level coverage. If you say yes to one of the questions or all of them, then they get guaranteed issue. Again, no declines. So I have people ask me, well, what if they have to say yes to 2 or 3 questions? There are no declines. They just qualify for the GI product at that point. So 1 yes will kick them to GI, or 8 yeses will kick them to GI. So again, the standard approval is key, and you'll see when we get to the health questions, key that they are seeing your doctor at least once a year and taking the medications that they're being prescribed. We want to see those refills. So if something happens and someone passes in contestability, we want to make sure that that condition is managed, right, the way it was supposed to be. So we'll run through the health questions here quick. I'm not going to read them word for word, but to kind of give you an idea of what the application looks like. We only accept e-apps. There are no paper apps. So all of this will be done in your portal, but we kind of got them here so you can look at them. So the first question is your ADL question, right? So are you confined to a nursing facility? Basically, are you in hospice, passing away, right, on your last leg? Or do you need someone to take care of yourself or terminally ill? That would be guaranteed issue. The second question, which I still don't believe in, but it's hard to get actuaries to do it, AIDS or HIV is currently guaranteed issue. This is a condition that I feel people now can go undetectable, can live a long time with that. There are some carriers that are getting better about that, but for right now, that does kick it to guaranteed issue for us as well, just like everybody else. And then C is your cancer question. So you can see no time period here. Just have you been diagnosed with more than 1 occurrence of any cancer, reoccurrence, has it spread, metastasized, or are you currently being treated? So that's it. So you can't have the cancer twice, right? And then if you do have the cancer, it just can't be current cancer. And then obviously we exclude the skin cancers that aren't very dangerous there. So that doesn't count. The skin cancers don't count. But if you've had liver cancer and you've been treated and it's, or stomach cancer or whatever the case may be, and you're treated and you haven't had it again, then you're fine for first aid coverage with no look back, as long as you're cancer free currently. Next one. So in the last 10 years, this is a question that we spent a lot of time on because this is the one that covers a lot of the health conditions, but they have to be seeing the doctor and taking their meds. So in the last 10 years, have you been medically diagnosed for which you have not been treated by a licensed member of the medical profession or have not taken medication for the following? So all of those things are okay as long as you're seeing the doctor and taking your meds. If you're not seeing your doctor and you're ignoring the condition, you need to say yes there so it goes guaranteed issue. But if you have COPD or you've had a stroke in the past or a mini stroke, a TIA, lung disease, COPD, emphysema, kidney disease, any of that, but you're getting treatment, then that's okay to go first aid coverage. So that's huge in this industry. There's a lot of these conditions here, congestive heart failure included, that we see in final expense, right? I know with some of the companies that I've worked with in the past in the field, you're going to see a lot of COPD these days, people on inhalers. You're going to see a lot of people with CHF and people that have high blood pressure on insulin, maybe some complications with diabetes. So this is a perfect product to give these people first aid coverage instead of a graded or guaranteed issue product. So the next one is your mental disorder question. and this will kick it to GI. So have you ever been medically diagnosed, obviously with lupus, Alzheimer's, dementia, brain disease? Any of these that are listed are pretty serious, and you can't, with medication, you're slowing it down, but you can't stop it, right? It will kill you eventually. So all of these would make it go guaranteed issue. And I tell anybody, any kind of mental disorder that you have, people ask me all the time about bipolar and schizophrenia. That is a brain disorder and would go guaranteed issue. I know there are a few carriers that take that level, but we're not one of them. We're stronger in the heart stuff and the COPD and lung issues, stuff that you see there. But so if you, again, no declines, you just have to go with the 2-year wait on that product if you write it. The next question, in the past 2 years, have you been hospitalized 2 or more times? Does not mean going to the ER or the urgent care. It means being admitted to the hospital and you're staying in the hospital 2 or more times in the last 2 years. That would be GI. Or if you've been, recommended for a surgery or some kind of treatment that you haven't completed yet, and that's a risk. In the last 2 years, have you been treated for drug or alcohol abuse or attempted suicide? So that's a pretty standard question. If that's yes, then you would want to go guaranteed issue versus level. And then the last one is kind of the coverall for being able to take dialysis and some of these major health conditions that if you're on dialysis because you're waiting for a kidney, you're going to say yes to this question, right? So dialysis is okay, but you're going to have to say yes here in BGI, because if you're waiting on, a kidney, or you've had a kidney, in the last 5 years, then you would have to go GI. Now, again, if they've had some kind of transplant and they've lived with it for at least 5 years and haven't rejected it, then they qualify for level coverage. So that's it. Those are the 8 health questions. So it's as simple as that. If you can say no to all of those, they will get first A level coverage. And you will get industry standard compensation, what you're used to. If not, then they go GI, which is also very competitive commission for you guys and very competitive for the client based on industry standard. So this is kind of a map. When we started this product, we rolled it out for the first time July of 2023. So this is a new product, guys. What, 7, 8, 9 months? 6, 7 months, but it hasn't been out very long. And we started in 13 states. So you can see we've expanded since then. So the states that are dark blue there you're good to go for your standard and your GI. The light blue have been filed. Puerto Rico is not on there, but Puerto Rico has been filed as well. But we're just not approved yet. New York and California are going to take some time. New York will probably never be in. You have to have a physical presence in New York and a few other things. So I don't know if you have any distribution in New York, but this product won't be available there. California, because we have living benefits on the policy, we would have to rewrite it. So it's going to take some time there as well, but we probably will eventually be in California. But other than those 2 states, everything else is wide open. We've either already been approved or we should be approved shortly. So a couple of application tips before we show you the portal. When you get your writing number with CICA Life and the Superior Choice product, as soon as you sign up, you'll get a welcome email. Any licenses that you had, you will be appointed by the carrier at that time. So if you have 10 licenses, when you apply, you're going to be good to go in those 10 states. But if you get a new license after you've been, you've appointed, we don't grab that automatically. So you need to let us know. You need to reach out to CPS, and we'll show you those emails to let them know that you've got a new license so we can appoint you in that state. And I tell everybody before taking an application, if you log into your portal, there's a drop down on the first page to pick what state you're writing the app in. If you can't select that state, then you're not appointed and you need to reach out before writing that application. We do require currently that you have, the client has an email. We realize clients and beneficiaries don't always have emails. They don't know what they are, especially if they're seniors, right? Because this is a 0 to 85 product. So if it's a younger person, they probably have it. If it's somebody that's in their 80s, they're probably not checking their email. You can use none@none.com. Please do not put your agent email in there because it will kick it to an underwriter. So this is a product that is field underwritten. So as soon as it's done, like I mentioned, you get a policy number. It goes straight into CICA Life's computer system to either collect that payment or put a hold on it for a future date based on when you said it can draft, maybe based on their Social Security or what have you. So we want to make sure that we don't put, your email in there because it can delay the app getting issued because somebody manually has to input that information. Same thing with the beneficiary name. The name, date of birth, relationship, and the percentage are required. It does ask for social and for email. We realize you may not have a beneficiary social security number, so you can put all zeros in there for that, and then use the none@none.com for the email. Please don't make an email or use the agent email. We're fine with it. If you just do none@none.com, we know that they just don't have an email. We also can use tax IDs and ITINs. So if a client doesn't have a social security number, they can use the tax ID. They don't have to have a social security number. CICA Life of America is the paper that we're using to write the Superior Choice product. But this company that is owned by Citizens Inc., and they've been doing business internationally for over 50 years. So they're very familiar with international business from all over South America, Latin America. So they are perfectly fine taking ITINs and tax IDs over social security numbers. So either way, we're good there. Any kind of replacement forms, or honestly any forms that you'll ever need, are all in the portal. So there's no separate forms that you have to fill out outside of the portal. And you'll see once you complete all the steps, everything is in there for you. Now, if you are asking health questions, let's say on the first page, when you calculate the premium, if you pick level plan and then you start asking the health questions, and let's say they said, yeah, I currently have cancer, and you say yes to that, it will make you go back, and these are just some tips that we tell you about because they've happened. It will make you go back to the first page and recalculate that premium and pick guaranteed issue, just to make sure you're communicating that with the client. Whether you're doing telesales or face-to-face, we offer both options. So if you're face-to-face, obviously you'll do that right on site. If you're telesales, you'll say, since you've answered yes, let's go back and recalculate that premium on the guaranteed issue product. There is a step 7. You'll see there's, I believe, 9 steps, 8 or 9 steps of the application. Step 7 is a remarks section. And when we get there, you'll see when you click on it, it's just 2 blank lines where you can put any information that you want. And we've had agents put in, this is a great product. We've had them put in clients' medications or, kind of explaining what's going on the app. Don't put anything in there. Again, for the same reason you don't put your agent email in the email box, it will require a manual underwriting process, and it just takes more time to get your apps issued. We are trying to get that step removed, but right now, just leave it blank. If you have anything that you need to communicate about the application, you'll want to send it to cps@citizensinc.com, and you'll see when we log into the portal, all that information will be scrolling at the bottom with a phone number for corporate, along with that email address. Right in your face. So if you need it, it's right there in front of you so you don't have to remember. But if there's ever a concern, email CPS or email us. Please do not put anything in that remarks section so we can get it removed. So we can go up to 28 days in advance. We are working to go 31 or really 35 if we can, because we know sometimes that's important for Social Security billing. But for right now, the 1st through the 28th are the hold dates that you can pick. You'll see that something a little unique about this product, if a client misses a payment, we allow the agent to take a payment. So in addition to bank draft, we also take direct express, credit cards, third-party payments, however you want to make the payment. So you can actually go into your own portal. If a client has an NSF and they can be on bank draft, you can take a credit or debit card over the phone with them, get the client current, and they can stay on bank draft for the next month. So it allows you to go ahead and manage your book of business without having to rely on someone at corporate processing that payment for you. So that kind of makes it nice for you. Third-party premium payers are allowed. And you can see there, we do take ACH, credit card, debit card, and direct express, but we're only going to advance commissions on the recurring bank draft ACH. If you use a direct express card or a credit card for the first payment, then we won't advance you. Now, if you put them on bank draft and they make 4 payments, let's say, and the 5th payment bounces, obviously you've been advanced on that policy because it's on bank draft, you're okay to take a credit card to get that payment current. This is if you start the policy with a credit or debit card or direct express versus bank draft. So we talked about this. You'll be paid as earned on anything other than reoccurring ACH, and the hold dates can be the 1st through the 28th. We do a 6-month advance. I know industry standard is 9 months, and I'll tell you why we do a 6-month advance. We do that so when you write a piece of business, you will always get a paycheck if you're writing bank draft, okay? So the chargebacks after the first payment will come out of the as earned on the back end. You don't go negative. So we don't create debt up front because you have the other 6 months to pay it. So we do pay once a week. So instead of paying daily where you get $100 here, $200 there, when we built this initially, it was for our career team, and we were able to get some additional insurance capacity to be able to do more business, to roll it out to select groups like Western Marketing. So this isn't a product that every IMO has. We're very selective with who we're doing business with, and it was set up for a career team and set up to pay once a week. So it's a larger check to budget their bills and to make sure that if you write 3 policies, you're paid on 3 policies. If you write 5 policies, you're expecting a certain check, and then last minute you find out you had 2 chargebacks and now you go negative or your check is half of what you thought it should be. That won't happen here. Now the first payment has to draft. If the first payment doesn't draft, you won't get paid because we do pay on draft. But after that first payment, if the 2nd through the 6th payment lapses before you get to that 7th payment as earned, we will take it out of the as earned of your other policies on the back end instead of making you pay it back with new business. So that really helps you from not going negative. And it also will still be feel like the same pay through as a 9-month advance. You just won't have to take the chargebacks up front. Like I mentioned, the business week runs between Wednesday to Tuesday, as long as business is issued by Tuesday of that week. Wednesday, they generate a commission statement. Friday, the money is ACH'd in your account. Now we do have mobile apps for iPhone, Android, Macs, laptops, and people say, well, what do I need to download a portal? You can go to the website, to the portal, but sometimes you don't have internet, especially these guys that are in the field doing face-to-face and gals doing face-to-face. If you're in the field, you know this, in rural areas, sometimes you don't have access to internet. You can still write an application. If you download the app, there's an offline mode. You can do a whole application, get the signature from the client on the screen, and then get back to the hotel or your house when you have internet later that day and transmit. So you don't have to transmit in the home if you download the application, which can be handy at times. Most people go to the website, which is perfectly fine, just like every other carrier, but you can download these apps. And we always tell people it doesn't hurt to download the app. If you need it, then you've got it there to use that offline mode. So telesales and call center sales, you'll see when we do the application, we ask, is this being done in a call center? That just means telesales, right? So whether you're at home by yourself or you're really in a call center with 100 people, it's all telesales to us and all considered call center. We do voice signature. It must be on a recorded line. We have a process for that was shared with Jim, and we'll make sure that you guys get a link to upload those. But basically, you'll record the entire call. We have a script that you'll say, and make sure you ask the questions. No need to trim the call. It can be the full presentation, and then there's a link where you upload it, and the recording, there's a recording ID that needs to match that you'll put on the application, and that you'll name that file, and it's just the client's full telephone number and the date that you took the app. So the call will basically, you'll see kind of the presentation as we go through the app, but you'll just start the recording once you start answering the, getting the client information. So, Wayne Daniel, date of birth is July 1st, 1970. You got the, all the way through, name, address. You're going to ask the health questions, and then there is a reduced HIPAA disclosure and a voice signature statement, and you're done. So, and then you'll just label the recording, the client's phone number along with the date, and then you'll put that in the portal so we can match them up, upload it, and you're done. Because remember, everything is approved on site. When you're done with the application, you'll get the policy number. It's approved, either guaranteed issue or first aid coverage. If you guys want to screenshot this, this is every phone number to each team. So Citizens Inc. Has about 150 employees. They do a lot of business internationally. So we have a group that is just for domestic, just for our group, for Superior Choice. And that is the cps@citizensinc.com email, and that team phone number there at the top that will be for the Superior Choice agent support. You also have policyholder, new business, and claims and contracting if you need that as well. But remember, everything with domestic, with contracting appointments, any kind of stuff like that, will go through CPS. The only time you need those other phone numbers is if you've got a claim or an issue with the underwriting, or if you put something in that remarks section, or you put your agent email in the email, which none of us will do, so nothing should have to go to underwriting. But if you make a mistake and it goes to underwriting, you may have to talk to them. Now what we can do, Jim, is we can go through the portal just to kind of do a 30,000 foot view of it to show everybody. But if there's any questions about the agent guide, we can answer those first.
Yeah, well, Becca's pulling up the portal, Wayne. First of all, thank you for all that information. So we had a handful of questions. I think a lot of them got answered, but I want to go back through them. The first one was about somebody who had prostate cancer. So that sounds past tense to me. So I just wanted your responses. How would that be underwritten if it was past tense prostate cancer?
Yeah, as long as they were clear yesterday, then they're good for level coverage today. So no look back. Yeah, if they're cancer free, then that's good to go. There's no time period they have to wait.
Okay, perfect. And then we had a question about bone marrow transplant, which is a great question, by the way, Ed. How is that treated? Is that treated as an organ transplant? Do you know?
That's a great question, and I don't know, but I'll find out and shoot you an email. You can distribute that to the appropriate people, because to your point, that's not an organ transplant. I would imagine that that's okay, but let me get clarification on it. And like I said, a lot of times that happens with cancer and stuff like that. So I think it's going to lean on that current cancer question as well. But if they're cancer free and they've had that, I imagine it's okay, but let me get clarification on that.
Okay. There were a few questions about availability as far as state availability. We went through the map. Our team can send you guys out the maps. We obviously have those. So I know there's questions about, for example, Virginia, it's filed and pending. Massachusetts, filed and pending. Any idea on the time frame for approvals for those states?
We're waiting on the state, which can take a long time.
Sure.
I know Ohio is going to be a little longer because the Attorney General, in addition to the insurance commissioner, has to approve the certificate of authority. But the other, we're told weeks on the other ones. So we're hoping in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But at the same time, all they're doing is their legal department once a week is checking up on it. So like I said, with it being filed, it should happen pretty quickly. Like I said, over the last 6 months, we went from 13 to 30 something. So it kind of give you an idea. It happens within 3 to 4 weeks typically.
Okay, awesome. There's a question about the call recording. So in that, are you saying the agent is responsible to do the call recording themselves, or do they call a recorded line with CICA Life and do it with them? And if so, is there a phone number for that?
So we always get a lot of questions on this. We're working on some other options for call centers and telesales. Right now, the agent has to have the ability to record the call. They can use any software that they want. We can send a guide on some free ones. There's some paid ones that are real reasonable. We don't care what you use. The key is it will show you there's a spot to put the name, the recording ID, which is going to be the client's phone number and the date you took the app. And then you would just name the file that you've used to whatever software you used to record it. And then we give you a link to upload it. So that's all you do. You'll finish the app. You'll upload the file to this link. You'll say it's good. They'll match it up. You do nothing else on your end. Okay. So we tell everybody they are responsible for doing that. We're adding text and email signatures in the next few weeks. So we've already got the company identified. We're just waiting for implementation.
Awesome. That's good news. One thing that was asked is this, and I believe I know, but just because we're newer to you guys, this is an e-app only product, correct?
That is correct. We have a paper.
We do have a
just to kind of show you guys the questions, but yes, everything has to be done at cicaamerica.citizensinc.com is the dashboard, or using that mobile app that you can download, which also gives you the ability to take an application when you don't have internet access.
Yeah, and we have a copy, just so everybody on the call knows, we have a copy of that paper app. Please note, it is only a sample for you to see the questions, the process of the app. This is an e-app only product. And so if you have questions about that, I'll give you our numbers for anything you need at the end of the presentation. You can call our team and we can get you things like a copy of the app. The next question is, what if the client is on a preventative med for breast cancer, but is technically currently cancer-free?
First aid.
How is that underwritten?
And we have that a lot. So anastrozole is a big one. Clients will take that after breast cancer, sometimes for years, just to make sure it doesn't come back. That's a maintenance medication. That's perfectly fine. As long as they are cancer free, it will go first aid coverage, because again, we want them taking the meds so the cancer doesn't come back. It's all about, if they're cancer free, the anastrozole or whatever they're on to make sure that they stay cancer free is perfectly fine for first aid immediate coverage.
Can a power of attorney purchase the plan?
No, not currently.
No. Okay, not currently. And then I think this will be our last question before we hop into the portal, which I'm excited about. I do webinars all the time, and usually we get 2 questions or 3 on a good day. So 10 or 15 just shows that this is a product that's been needed in the market. The last question I have right now is, the client had cancer 20 years ago, and then occurrence 5 years ago. Now, if that occurrence 5 years ago happened, but they are currently cancer-free, they've had 2 occurrences, is that standard or level, or is that GI?
That would be GI if it's a reoccurrence of the same cancer, if it came back, yes. So if they've had the same one twice, the fear is they will come back a third time. I know that's drastic, 20 years to 5 years, but typically it happens closer together. But yes, if they have a reoccurrence of the exact same cancer, then it would go GI. Now, they can have one cancer, they can have another cancer of different type, and be free and they're fine, but it can't spread throughout their body, and they can't have the same cancer twice.
Okay. We've got a couple more already coming in. Folks, we're going to switch back to walking through the portal and everything, and then I promise we'll get to the rest of the questions. This is pretty fun that we're getting this many questions, Wayne. So take it away.
Yeah, so we expect that, because right now I believe we're the only 0 to 85 GI product out there. There's a couple in the market that have left, and the reason is, we're very familiar with the Fraternal that just left the market in GI, and their pricing was very good, right? So we love that, but the pricing has to be, it has to be, high enough so they can pay claims and be profitable, and that's what started happening. When you're writing a GI product, it's not a price buster. And you guys will see that there are some niches on the younger ages, but especially for seniors, this won't be a price buster either. This is a product, that, if they have some health conditions, but, they still are in good health and they can live a long time with the conditions because they're being managed, it gives you an opportunity to write first aid coverage. But then again, for younger ages, it absolutely is a great price for somebody in their 20s and 30s and 40s want to go ahead and get that knocked out. So, but anyway, go into the portal here. When you log in, the first thing you're going to see is this dashboard. And what we wanted to do, this isn't MRS or DIMA or iPipeline or any kind of off-the-shelf portal that you can buy. This was created internally by Citizens IT department. They do a fantastic job creating products like this. And we had them create everything, the KPIs that agents want to see all in one place, right? What do you want to see? You want to see how many apps have been issued and what your production is. If you have an agency and you have downline agents, you want to see what your total agency production is and how many apps that you've issued as a team. So you have that in your year-to-date production right when you log in as an individual, and then again as an agency, as a team. If you're not an individual and you just write team business, those numbers will be the same, obviously, because you don't have any individual business, but that's going to give you a fresh look at that. If you click on any of these gray boxes with these KPIs, it takes you directly to the information, right? So there's directly to the apps. If you click the agency production, it takes you straight to the premium and shows you your agency report, and you can pick yourself or any of your downlines and see all of the business that you've wrote from there. So It makes it really easy to select stuff. So status of book of business, what do we want to monitor? You want to monitor what's in progress. So this is a demo account, but you can see this would show that if there's 8 apps that are in process, that means that you probably have hold dates, you've done the application, you're working on it, maybe haven't transmitted it, but there are things that haven't been active yet. If there's anything in failed, that just means that something didn't transmit. You want to look into it, make sure you sent it and there's been some issue. You shouldn't see anything there. 1 month arrears, when we're talking about delinquency, we don't lapse policies until the 90th day, right? So that third payment's past due. So 1 month arrears means they're 30 days past due, right? They're past due up to 30 days. If there's anybody in that bucket, you can click on it. It will take you to the client, show you the policy number, the payment amount, all the information there you've got, and then you can go to the policy payment and take a payment. So if you go back there, get the policy number, you get the client on the phone, they've been ACH, 3 payments, and then you're like, if they have a bank account, they probably have a debit card. So maybe it was an issue with the bank. You call them up, get their debit card or a credit card, or they have a brother or sister that's going to make the payment for them, whatever the case may be. You put the information in there, and then you can take the payment as an agent and get that client current without getting the home office involved at all. Nobody, you're managing your book of business. So if you go back to the dashboard, there's another one that says pending lapse. That means they've missed 2 payments. We're 61 days past due now. That if there's anybody in that bucket, when their next payment comes due, they're going to lapse. So that's going to be your potential lapses. So we're showing you somebody that's missed 1 payment, and that next bucket is where they've missed 2 payments, and we're going, okay, now it's do or die, right? And if you can keep that bucket clear, after 6 months, you're going to start getting your as earned, right? For the 7 through 12 months, your pay through along with your renewals after that. So you want to manage that bucket. If it does lapse, again, you don't go negative up front. We will take it out of the back end, but the idea is keep business on the books, keep your persistency high, so you're paid that back end. You're not, it's not eaten up with chargebacks. So that's everything right there on the front dashboard. On the right where it says resources, this is where all the forms are, the agent guide that we went over, flyers for the client, flyers for the agent, any information that you may need is all there. The voice recording guidelines, that's the script that we talked about and exactly how to do a voice recording and record it and label it. So if you need to do any kind of policy changes, changing a beneficiary, changing a client's bank draft information, anything like that, all of that form's right there at your fingertips. You don't have to ask anybody, go to a separate portal, do anything. You can manage it yourself. Someone gives you a call, you're in your portal, you want to do a quick customer lookup by last name, or they give you a policy number, you can do that as well, go straight to their account to view their business. So that's everything on the dashboard. Where it says customers, that's going to be your customer lookup as well. Policy payment we went through. If you're taking a payment for any client, you would do that there. You have several reports. You have your activity report. You have any kind of your commission statement, which obviously everybody needs to see. Your status report, which is going to show you your book of business by each month and what your persistency numbers are. So we've got a lot of data in there, so you can manage your book of business based on persistency, your renewal premiums. It will even show you a missed payment report that shows you, we try to draft twice. After it misses, we try to bank draft again to make sure. It will show you if they've made that payment, how many attempts we've made. She's got it right there, a fused error. You can see how they tried to make the payment. Is it on reoccurring? And then how much is the annual premium and how much is that payment? So you can go in there and manage it. If you have a downline, you can do the same thing. So you can see every agent that is under you in your downline. So you can help them as well if you need to. With the reporting. So pretty much everything that, this was built by agents that have written business in the field. So we kind of know what people want, right? You want to manage your book of business without being overloaded and having too much information. There is a little guy on the right, a little blue man is what we call him. That's where you're going to see your licenses and appointments. You can download that app to the portal from there. But this is where you'll check to see if you're appointed for each state, stuff like that. This is where Becca was showing you can download, Android, Apple. So you can see here, each agent, it shows you the states they're appointed in, how many licenses they have and stuff like that once it pulls up here. So But yeah, right there, states appointed 6. She has a license in 7 states, so that agent there. So, and you can export that. Everything, all the reports, you can do PDF, and then some agencies and agents have their own CRM. So if you want to export this data in a CSV and import it in your own CRM, you're able to do that as well and manage it in your own CRM. So everything can be exported CSV or PDF. And then the applications tab, that's the last tab. It says list, which shows anything that you're working on. You can see we've done several tests here, but normally that would be apps that you've started but haven't completed. Because remember, you can save these apps, capture the signature and get all the information and not transmit until you get back, right? Because if you didn't have internet, you wouldn't be able to transmit in the home. Now, if you're doing telesales, this isn't an issue because you're taking the app and transmitting immediately. But for people that are face-to-face, that would be the time where you would save it. Maybe a client says, hey, I want to think about it. You're already halfway through the app. You can save that, come back later and finish that application. The other part is how you take a new app, and we'll go through that real quick. Like you see here, it says step 1 through 9. We're just going to go through each step here. So like I said, she'll put some information in there so we can move forward, but pretty much your proposed information, proposed insured information goes there on top. And then the authorization consent box, that's where you're telling them if you're doing telesales. So if it's been completed by a call center, you want to say yes. That just means telesales, guys, and it's going to ask for that recording ID. If you say no there and you're face-to-face, it's going to ask you if you have a screen that is a touch screen. It's going to ask the client to sign with a pencil or their finger on the screen. If you don't and you're using a laptop or something, then you'll have to type the client's name in, but they'll require a signature. If you say yes, a signature is not required because you're going to do the voice signature. Plan options, you're going to pick the plan, standard issue or guaranteed issue. If you want to add accidental death on the standard, you can do that for $5 a month. That's where you'll say what mode you're going to do. Most of the time that's going to be monthly, and it's going to give you the quote when you hit calculate. And this is what you'll tell the client it's going to cost. And then she just click next step, and she's going to add the contact information here for the address and email. Again, if we don't have an email address, she'll put none@none.com. That's perfectly fine. And you can't mess this up. If you try to go next step and it won't let you, it'll turn red like that social did, and that lets you know that you've missed something. So if a box turns red, it is required. But remember, we understand that beneficiaries won't have socials all the time. If you have access to it, great, but if you don't, you can put none@none.com for emails, and you can put in zeros for that social security number. It's perfectly fine. Now for the insured, you do have to have a tax ID or social, but all the beneficiaries, you don't have to have that. So when she's done there, she would just click next step to go to the next one. But then if you ever want to see where you are, you can also click table of contents there or back to list. You don't have to click next step. And when you do that, it will take you back to the main screen. And you'll see if you've got a thumbs up, see step 1, she has a thumbs up, that means we're complete. Everything is good. If you have the black arrow, that means you haven't started it or there's an issue. So you need to have them all thumbs up before you transmit. So we'll go in here. Policy owner, if you had a different owner, we're going to say no so we can move on. Policy owner could be the same as insured. Beneficiary, you can put up to 4 beneficiaries in here and 4 contingent beneficiaries. And again, typing name, address, and then the percent and the relationship to the applicant is what's required. If you don't have social, you can put in zeros. If you don't have email, none@none.com. If you don't have date of birth, you can put in the insured's date of birth or put anything you want in there. What's important is that you have the percent correct, right? So if you're doing 4, you might do 25%, or if it's just 1, you'll do 100. You guys are familiar with that, so you can do up to 4. But the relationship to the client, the percentage, and then the name and address are what's important. Then you'll click next step. See it? She clicked next step there, and it's telling her she didn't enter a state. So it's not going to let you go forward if you make a mistake. So you'll know, and it'll find you. This is your replacement question. We'll say no here, but if you said yes, it's going to pull up the replacement form and have you put in the information. We do ask that you have to put the company name for the replacement and the policy number. If you don't have the policy number, put in the client's social security number. That is sent to the old insurance company to let them know, and they need to be able to look that up. So that contractor policy number, if you don't have it, put in the client's social, the insured social. So she'll click through here. Here's your health questions. So you'll go through and ask these health questions, and hopefully you'll say no and they'll qualify for level coverage. But if they do have one of these health conditions and you say yes, it'll just prompt you to go back and do the GI. See, standard issue is no longer available, and you would go back and change it to guaranteed issue. And then recalculate your premium, and then you can go back to your table of contents and finish everything up. So we'll go back to standard and get back to the health questions here. Sorry guys, bear with us. We got to put a little bit of information in here. All right, so we'll go back and change that one to no, right? Because this client's healthy, so we don't have any issues. Oh, or maybe not. Maybe we are gonna make it guaranteed.
I'm gonna go into the signature stuff, Wayne, while I'm working on this.
Yeah, so on the signature, guys, like I said, what you'll do is when you click the signature here, if you're doing telesales, you'll have a reduced HIPAA disclosure there. You don't have to read it off the screen. You'll have another separate form, and then you will put in the signature. If you're face-to-face, there will be a spot to sign. If you're telesales, it will say recording ID and require that right there that she's highlighted. So that will be the client's phone number and today's date if you're taking the app today. And you'll still put the city that the client's in, sign state, and then the date signed. If it's in person and she had clicked no, there would be a signature spot there for you to take the client's signature. The whole date, if they're activating the policy today, today's the 23rd of January, then you would say no, and it will draft today as soon as it's approved, right? Because it's either going to be level or GI, no declines. But let's say they're 75 years old and they get paid on the 3rd of the month, right? Like a lot of Social Security people do. And they go, well, I don't have the money today, but I'll have it February 3rd. Then that's where you would say yes to delay payment, put in the 3rd of February, and then now it will hold that policy until the 3rd of February before it drafts. And then down there you have agent, you can do splits. So if you need to do a second agent, you can do that as well and do any kind of percent split that you want to do there. And then the date signed and your NIPR number there. So then you click next step. Once you get all thumbs up where it says disclosure and signature, then you're done with the app, but we haven't sent it in yet, right? So where it says upload application step 9, once you've completed all those steps, that will highlight and allow you to upload it. Once you upload it, it's done. It's at the carrier. We can't change anything. But this is where I was saying, if you're in offline mode, guys, you can go all the way through step 8, get the signatures, get the recording, everything's done, and then wait till you have internet access to actually do step 9 and upload it. But if you're already done, you have internet, whether you're face-to-face or doing telesales, you've walked through those steps. Remember step 7 where it says remarks, you're gonna leave that blank. This is what it looks like. When you click on it, it'll be 2 blanks. You'll be really tempted to put something in there because everybody is, but just please leave it blank. Like I said, it doesn't hurt if you do it. It's not the end of the world. It just takes 2 or 3 days to get it issued versus instantly. So please try not to put any additional information there. But anyway, so remarks, once she goes back, that'll be a thumbs up, even though she didn't put anything there. Once she saves it, you'll upload it and then see where it says hold payment and application until 2/3. That's the hold date. And then you'll go to schedule a payment. A lot of people think that schedule a payment means we're going to make a payment today. No, we've told them to hold it to the 3rd. This is just where you're going to put your ACH information or your Direct Express card or whatever kind of payment that you're using. We ask for payment at the end. I know some carriers require it up front. I never understood that because you haven't closed the deal yet, right? You haven't, some of them want it before you see what premium they qualify for. You don't know if it's going to be GI or level or what they're going to qualify for. If it's in your marketing process to get it up front, go ahead and do it. That's fine. But we don't ask for it till you're done. So the client knows what they're qualifying for, what the price is, and you're ready to upload that application. Just don't click upload until you know that you've got that payment information secured. Then you're going to click upload, and then you're going to click schedule the payment and go in there and put the payment information. And then the system automatically knows to hold and draft that client on the 3rd of February. And then you'll see them there and it will show hold application. A lot of people get confused with that. Hold application doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just means we're holding it till that draft date. So everything is good to go. where it says application number and it has 22 and a bunch of zeros and then some numbers, that is going to be their policy number. So if you see a number there, that means it's been transmitted to corporate. The one below it, you can see we've just saved that one. That one was never uploaded. That's the one she just did a test on. You saw we didn't go all the way through, so you're not going to have an application number. If it has that number, that means that we've uploaded it to corporate and you're good to go, guys. You're just waiting on that hold date. Now, if it was today's draft date, they would draft it, they would show active right there instead of hold. But most people are doing hold dates because the client wants it to draft on a certain day, not immediately, depending on when you're there selling the client. So that's it, guys. A real simple dashboard. Like I said, you got your dashboard with your KPIs right there up front, everything you need to drill down, your customer section to look up, your payment section to make a payment, all the reports that you want, and then the application tag to take an app. And that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Becca. We have a few more questions as we wrap up
Sure.
the webinar. Again, a lot of great information. So I can answer this one. Where you go to get contracted. You simply pick up the phone and call our office, speak to your marketer. If you don't have one, just ask for somebody that can help you with the CICA Life product. All of our marketers should be able to help you with this. Our office to our number is 800-852-7152. Again, that's 800-852-7152. We'll get your information and get it submitted, and then you'll get a link to go through and do the contracting. So just call us. We'll get you taken care of. There was a question about the presentation. We've recorded this webinar, so we will get out the recording to everybody. So don't stress about that. There was a really good question about claims payment. Wayne, do you know roughly on average, I know it varies, but in paying claim about what the average time is to pay claims? You're on mute, I think, Wayne. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I did that. Sorry about that. We just went over this back. Do you remember what Gerald said? It was 42 hours. They actually have the average number. It was right at the second day. So one day to obviously process, and then the check was going out the next day. But he knew exactly. We met with the president about 3 weeks ago, and it was taking close to a week, but now they're down to under 2 days. So, which I still thought was reasonable, but they are very, if you go on the website, on the Citizens website, a promise made is a promise kept. They're really, they take that seriously, especially these small face amount policies. They get the payment out very quickly.
Awesome. Tom, that's correct. Recording the call is required only if you're selling over the phone, whether as an individual or as part of a call center. So if you are selling face-to-face, you do not need to record the presentation. So we have a question about specifically Social Security billing dates, i.e. the second Wednesday of the month, etc. Is CICA set up to do ACH drafts on those dates or not?
They're not currently. We know that's a big deal,
Okay.
especially for the older ages on final expense, not so much for, this is a 0 to 85. So the younger ages that are working, it's not so much of an issue. We do have this schedule agent guide that Becca pulled up for the next year or two. This will get everybody on the day or the day after. What we're doing is we're changing from Chase, which is WorldPay, to regions. We're in the process of making that happen. I don't have the timeline currently and don't want to tell you something that's not true, but they are aware that it's an issue, and Citizens is in the process of changing vendors to be able to make that possible. Because again, guys, this is, they've been doing business internationally for a long time, but Social Security billing in particular is kind of a niche for this product. So they're having to make some changes there on the payment processing.
Makes sense. Question about agents in states that are filed and pending but not approved. Are they able to submit contracting now so they're ready to rock and roll once the product's approved? For example, Maryland, or do they need to wait till their resident state's approved to do contracting?
Their resident state doesn't have to be approved. If they hold a non-resident license in one of the approved states, they can still get contracted and write business in that non-resident state, even if their resident license is not approved. If they only have that one license, that's the resident state, it's in, like you said, Maryland or somewhere that's not approved, they should wait to do contracting until that is approved because it'll likely expire.
Okay. All right. No, great information. Well, guys, this has been a jam-packed, fun hour learning about the CICA Life final expense. Obviously, with as many questions, I didn't even have to add, fluff with questions in this one because we've gotten so many great questions. Thank you all for sitting with us for about an hour now. Wayne, Becca, thank you so much for your partnership and helping introduce CICA Life to our agents. Again, everyone, if you have questions, want to get contracted, anything about CICA Life, just call our office, ask for a marketer. If you work with one, ask for them. If not, anybody on the marketing team can help you. Our number again is 800-852-7152. And we just really appreciate. We know when you're sitting here for an hour on a webinar, you aren't out doing appointments, putting food on your table, etc. So with that, everyone, thank you so much for participating in the webinar and make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.